Atos. Such a wonderfully descriptive word that I probably use far too often and never in motoring terms. Sure, there are more colourful expletives, but in general, a toss is somebody who is loud, obnoxious, brash, in your face. So it's hardly appropriate then when talking about Hyundai's A-segment competitor. Perhaps that's why in the UK it wasn't badged the Atos, but rather the Atos with a Z to steer clear of any negative connotations. But it really was a city car that could take you from A to Z. But the thing with Hyundai is they really do have this fixation with changing names and models, because the Atos is now back replacing the i10, but it slots in below the Grand i10, both in terms of its price and size. The new Atos is bigger than its predecessor and sees its current dimensions pretty much on par with segment competition. But it is the widest in class, which frees up some shoulder room inside. Space gains for passengers was more important than boot capacity. 235 litres is just below the segment average. It sits 15mm lower to the ground than the Quid and the Go, and it runs on 14-inch wheels with styled covers. From a design perspective, the Atos is referred to as a tall boy hatchback, and you really do get a feeling of that when you look at the car. Its dimensions are very, very narrow, and it does sit with a very high roofline. But usually with these compact city cars, you are compromised as a rear passenger. Not the case here. Have a look, there's no sloping roofline. The door is not impacted in any way. It keeps a straight line, and what that means for someone like myself at 6 foot, accessing the rear of the Atos is really easy. And once inside, the headroom is really impressive, as is the legroom, bearing in mind this seat is in my driving position. The Atos is built on an all-new platform, the K1, and the secret here was for them to increase dimensions overall, but critically improve their roominess of the interior, and they've done that. Specification is good. Consumers will be happy to see an infotainment system with a 7-inch touchscreen that is integrated, not an afterthought. There is Bluetooth connectivity, a 12-volt power socket, and a USB charging port that also ensures connectivity for Apple CarPlay. Sure, there are lots of hard plastics, but they are well put together, and it feels really solid. Even like this, when you close the door, solid, well put together. Look, they've definitely drawn some inspiration from their Merc-esque like turbine air vents, really cool. But let me tell you what I'm finding really difficult. Getting into a comfortable driving position, because my seat can't adjust up or down, and neither can the steering wheel, so this literally is it. And what it feels like is that I'm actually sitting on top of the Atos, as opposed to the Atos being built around me as the driver. But there is a positive to that. People like the command driving position, and it gives you good visibility all round. I guess if I fire it up and I start driving it, I'll get used to it. Hyundai have kept it very simple. At this stage, there's only one to choose from, the Atos Motion, which is powered by their 1.1 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine that is linked to a 5-speed manual transmission. There's no auto. It produces 52 kilowatts and 99 newton meters of torque. And you know, those figures, when you compare it against competitors, actually stack up really well. Most of the competitors at this price point are actually running 1 litre 3-cylinder engines. You may recall earlier I mentioned the new K1 platform. Well, what it's done from a drive perspective is it's improved the rigidity and the overall drive quality. But just take it with a pinch of salt. I think the most difficult cars to build really well are your entry-level cars, because budgets are so tight. You don't have money to throw at your dampers and your suspension and overall absorption of sound, but they've improved the NVH on this, and I think when you compare it against other cars in this price bracket, then it performs really well. And you know what? It's really competitively priced, 160,000 Rand all in. It makes it 12,000 Rand cheaper than the entry level into the Hyundai Grand i10. And they also sell this with their 7-year, 200,000 kilometer warranty. And what they've done is a service plan. Essentially, you're going to get one service. There's a 1-year, 15,000 kilometer plan that's included in that price. You know, I think it's a really good thing that the Atos is back. It's a name that South Africans know well and are comfortable with. 45,000 of them found homes between 2005 and 2013 when it was first offered here. But you know, I mentioned it earlier with the interior. This Atos feels really solid, well put together. It feels like an entry-level car with substance, and that is something that I think is missing with a lot of its competitors.